Today I want to tell you a story about the time that I almost left the business world before I even got started. Hi, my name is Don Archer, and when I was about 25 years old, I had a pregnant wife and 2 kids and was barely making enough money to cover the bills. I was working a job at a warehouse and it just wasn't enough to support my growing family. At first I thought a second job would do the trick, but after almost a year of overnights at a convenience store, I was only able to put a small amount of money into our savings. It wasn't until a coworker suggested that I start my own business that things began to change. I'd always wanted to go out on my own and be my own boss, but there were 2 problems. One, I had very little money to do it with, and I didn't want to lose the money I did have. But with my friend's encouragement and my desperation, I decided it was a good time to do it. So what I did was I got a cleaning job, cleaning offices in the evening, and I used that as a springboard for starting my own business. It didn't take long for me to learn the business, and within a short time I quit and went off on my own. But that's when the real struggle began. I thought working 2 jobs was a pain, but that was nothing compared to this. Being in business for yourself means you have to be 5 different people all at the same time. I had to create and distribute marketing material, do cold calling and answer the phone, provide every service my business card said I could provide, and do all the office work as well. It was a huge deal. And at the end of 6 months, I began to wonder if it was really all worth it. Then one day I was walking out of a hopeful customer's office with my tail between my legs, and I saw my old boss walk in. He knew why I was there. I was now his competition. We stopped and talked for a moment, and then I couldn't help myself. I began to complain about my problems, and surprisingly, he listened. He suggested that maybe I wasn't cut out to be an entrepreneur. He got me to thinking. I thought about all the trouble I'd had over the past 6 months and that I had no one to rely on but myself. I thought about all the closed doors, seemingly closed opportunities, and I became very pessimistic about my chances to really make my business work. I still called on potential customers, but every time I did, in the back of my mind, I played out the scene where I was rejected over and over again. And each rejection sent me further down into the spiral of negative thoughts. And day after day, I let it all get to me until I found myself hating my new business. Each morning I'd get up and get to work, but the excitement was gone. I was drained of any enthusiasm. It was replaced with a fear of rejection, fear of failure, and not being able to pay the bills. And it didn't take long before I finally decided to just ditch it all, ditch being an entrepreneur, and get my old job at the warehouse back. I no longer needed the headache and misery that owning my own business had created. And after finally making the decision to separate myself from my business, I felt totally relieved. It was like a weight was lifted off my chest. I went home and began the chore of going over the books. My plan was to pay all the bills and collect all the money that was owed to me and say, goodbye, cruel business world. But that's when I noticed something I hadn't before. You see, being young and naive in business for me meant that I gauged my success or failure by one factor only, by the amount of money I had in my checking account. And since it never seemed to increase during those first 6 months, I thought I was a failure. But what I noticed that day as I was going through everything was I was actually making money. I ran the numbers again and again and saw that even though my checking account wasn't overflowing with cash due to the fact that my receivables were continually going up, my sales were growing every month. I was making a profit. That's when I came back to life. It was then that I realized that my old boss was right when he said, maybe I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur. Of course I wasn't cut out to be an entrepreneur or born that way either. No one is born that way. You must work at it. And if I was going to complain about the business of being in business for myself and not get to work on it, then I was doomed to fail. So once I realized what I was doing to myself, I went to work on it. I stopped playing those negative scenes in my head. And when I did get rejected, I made a conscious effort to not take it personal. I knew what I was doing was working, and I didn't let rejection suck my energy and stop me from moving ahead. That was more than 20 years ago. I sold that business and applied what I learned to grow and finally sell my towing business. And now that my new business is helping others in the industry, I get to talk to a lot of people. Many of them have started and built successful businesses of their own. But for some, the stories never change. Many times when people contact me for help, I hear the same despair and helplessness in their voice that I had back then. They talk about the competition and the barriers that keep them from getting what they want. And for some, they can't be helped until they stop drowning in their own misery. But the people who are making it, they know that when you decide to stop complaining and get to work, that's when things miraculously unfold and start happening for you. Maybe the first time you try something, it doesn't work. So what? Try it again and again. And if it still doesn't work, then try something else. But you need to come into it with the understanding that anything worth having is worth working for. You can live your life being directed, or you can be the director of your life. It's your choice. No one is born to be an entrepreneur. You have to work at it. Whether you're already in the towing business or just kicking the tires to see where the money's at, you need to know how to effectively communicate your value and properly price your services. Those who thrive and profit understand that the towing business is more than just accidents and motor clubs. It's about understanding the mind of your customer and developing skills to get your value across in a way that makes sense so you make more money. And to help you do that, I want to give you this free book, How to Price Your Towing Services and Profit. Inside are the secrets every tower needs to know to grow their business. You'll learn how to effectively communicate your value, how to master the art of referrals, how to determine your rates, and how to market your business so you can stop depending only on motor clubs and law enforcement. So go ahead and click the link and put in your information, and when you do, you'll be subscribed to my email list where I'll send you regular updates, emails, and videos to help you grow your business. So go ahead and click the link, get your free book, and if you're not already a subscriber to my YouTube channel, please go ahead and click and subscribe there too. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching the Tow Academy. I'll talk to you later.